Snowboarding is a recreational and competitive activity that involves descending a snow-covered surface while standing on a snowboard that is almost always attached to a rider's feet. It features in the Winter Olympic Games and Winter Paralympic Games. Snowboarding was developed in the United States, inspired by skateboarding, sledding, surfing, and skiing. It became popular around the world and was introduced as a Winter Olympic sport at Nagano in 1998 and featured in the Winter Paralympics at Sochi in 2014. As of 2015, its popularity, as measured by equipment sales, in the United States peaked in 2007, and has been in a decline since. The first snowboards were developed in 1965 when Sherm Poppen, an engineer in Muskegon, Michigan, invented a toy for his daughters by fastening two skis together and attaching a rope to one end so he would have some control as they stood on the board and glided downhill. Dubbed the Snurfer, combining snow and surfer, by his wife Nancy, the toy proved so popular among his daughter's friends that Poppen licensed the idea to a manufacturer, Brunswick Corporation, that sold about 1 million Snurfers over the next decade. And, in 1966 alone, over 500,000 Snurfers were sold. Modern snowboarding was pioneered by Tom Sims and Jake Burton Carpenter, who both contributed significant innovations and started influential companies. In February 1968, Poppen organized the first snurfing competition at a Michigan ski resort that attracted enthusiasts from all over the country. One of those early pioneers was Tom Sims, a devotee of skateboarding, a sport born in the 1950s when kids attached roller skate wheels to small boards that they steered by shifting their weight. In the 1960s, as an 8th grader in Haddonfield, New Jersey, Sims crafted a snowboard in his school shop class by gluing carpet at the top of a piece of wood and attaching aluminium sheeting to the bottom. He produced commercial snowboards in the mid-70s including the ski board, also known as the Lonnie Toft Flying Banana, a molded polyethylene bottom with a Lonnie Toft signature skateboard deck attached to the top. Others experimented with board-on-snow configurations at this time, including Welsh skateboard enthusiasts John Roberts and Pete Matthews developed their own snowboards to use at their local dry ski slope. Also, during this same period, in 1977, Jake Burton Carpenter, a Vermont native who had enjoyed snurfing since the age of 14, impressed the crowd at a Michigan snurfing competition with bindings he had designed to secure his feet to the board. That same year, he founded Burton Snowboards in Londonderry, Vermont. The snowboards were made of wooden planks that were flexible and had water ski foot traps. Very few people picked up snowboarding because the price of the board was considered too high at $38 and were not allowed on many ski hills, but eventually Burton would become the biggest snowboarding company in the business. Burton's early designs for boards with bindings became the dominant features in snowboarding. The first competitions to offer prize money were the National Snurfing Championship, held at Muskegon State Park in Muskegon, Michigan. In 1979, Jake Burton Carpenter came from Vermont to compete with a snowboard of his own design. There were protests about Jake entering with a non-snurfer board. Paul Graves, and others, advocated that Jake be allowed to race. A modified open division was created and won by Jake as the sole entrant. That race was considered the first competition for snowboarding, and is the start of what became competitive snowboarding. Ken Kampenga, John Asmussen and Jim Trim placed first, second and third respectively in the standard competition with best two combined times of 24.71, 25.02 and 25.41, and Jake Carpenter won prize money as the sole entrant in the open division with a time of 26.35. In 1980 the event moved to Pando Winter Sports Park near Grand Rapids, Michigan because of a lack of snow that year at the original venue. In the early 1980s, Alexei Ostatnigrosh and Alexei Melnikov, two snurfers from the Soviet Union, patented design changes to the snurfer to allow jumping by attaching a bungee cord, a single-footed binding to the snurfer tail, and a two-foot binding design for improved control. As snowboarding became more popular in the 1970s and 1980s, pioneers such as Dmitry Emilovich, founder of Winterstick out of Salt Lake City, Utah, Jake Burton Carpenter, founder of Burton Snowboards from Londonderry, Vermont, Tom Sims, founder of Sims Snowboards, David Kemper, founder of Kemper Snowboards, and Mike Olson, founder of New Snowboards, came up with new designs for boards and mechanisms that slowly developed into the snowboards and other related equipment. From these developments, modern snowboarding equipment usually consists of a snowboard with specialized bindings and boots. In April 1981, the King of the Mountain snowboard competition was held at Ski Cooper in Colorado. Tom Sims along with an assortment of other snowboarders of the time were present. One entrant showed up on a homemade snowboard with a Formica bottom that turned out to not slide so well on the snow. In 1982, the first USA National Snowboard Race was held near Woodstock, Vermont, at Suicide 6. The race, organized by Graves, was won by Burton's first team rider Doug Bouton. In 1983, the first World Championship halfpipe competition was held at Soda Springs, California. Tom Sims, founder of Sims Snowboards, organized the event with the help of Mike Chantry, a snowboard instructor at Soda Springs. In 1985, the first World Cup was held in Zürs, Austria, further cementing snowboarding's recognition as an official international competitive sport. In 1990, the International Snowboard Federation, ISF, was founded to provide universal contest regulations. In addition, the United States of America Snowboard Association, USASA, provides instructing guidelines and runs snowboard competitions in the US today. High-profile snowboarding events like the Winter X Games, Air and Style, US Open, Olympic Games and other events are broadcast worldwide. Many alpine resorts have terrain parks. At the 1998 Winter Olympic Games in Nagano, Japan, snowboarding became an official Olympic event. France's Corinne Ruby was the first ever to win an Olympic gold medal for women's snowboarding at the 1998 Olympics, while Canadian Rossry Baliati was the first ever to win an Olympic gold medal for men's snowboarding. Initially, ski areas adopted the sport at a much slower pace than the winter sports public. Indeed, for many years, there was animosity between skiers and snowboarders, which led to an ongoing skier versus snowboarder feud. Early snowboards were banned from the slopes by park officials. For several years, snowboarders would have to take a small skills assessment prior to being allowed to ride the chairlifts. It was thought that an unskilled snowboarder would wipe the snow off the mountain. In 1985, only 7% of US ski areas allowed snowboarding, with a similar proportion in Europe. As equipment and skills improved, gradually snowboarding became more accepted. In 1990, most major ski areas had separate slopes for snowboarders. Now, approximately 97% of all ski areas in North America and Europe allow snowboarding, and more than half have jumps, rails and half-pipes. In 2004, snowboarding had 6.6 million active participants. An industry spokesman said that 12-year-olds are outriding adults. The same article said that most snowboarders are 18 to 24 years old and that women constitute 25% of participants. There were 8.2 million snowboarders in the US and Canada for the 2009 to 2010 season. There was a 10% increase over the previous season, accounting for more than 30% of all snow sports participants. On the 2nd of May 2012, the International Paralympic Committee announced that adaptive snowboarding, dubbed para-snowboarding, would debut as a men's and women's medal event in the 2014 Paralympic Winter Games taking place in Sochi, Russia. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the next video you want to see.